Welcome to Reread. It is time now for the Junior Jedi Knight series. These first three books are written by Nancy Richardson, and the first one is The Golden Globe. Now, in The Golden Globe, it's the introduction of Anakin. Anakin's arrived at the temple. He meets Tahiri, who's from Tatooine, who doesn't want to wear shoes again because sand gets everywhere. This is back before episode 1, but she says sand gets everywhere in your clothes and your shoes, and it's so gritty, and she just wants to walk around without shoes. Yeah. Anakin Skywalker knew the same thing. You wonder if George maybe read this and said, that's a good line, I'm going to keep it for episode 2. Anyway, I'm sure he didn't. But Anakin and Tahiri, the first mention of both of them, there's a ton of fans who love Anakin and Tahiri who started off by reading some of these books. A lot of you told me that you started off by reading Junior Jedi Knights because you were young enough, old enough to read that, and that was the first book you kind of read, which is kind of wild to think about. But it says that Jason and Jaina are home for a few months, I think, while they are at the academy. The Great Temple is in perfect condition. It hasn't been rebuilt, hasn't been destroyed yet. And the big question for me was, okay, where does this fall on the timeline? Where does it fall on the timeline? And to be honest, the only place it possibly could is during Lightsiders, because in Lightsiders, Jason and Jaina have gone off. There's a break in between Lightsiders and Darkest Night. It's not much of a break, but you could put a few months in there and said that the kids got a rest after that and then came back to the academy. All right, so I know that's not that big of a window, but there doesn't seem to be that big of a window because Golden Globe happens over like 2 days. 2 days, I think, so it's very short. And so all these adventures, I haven't read them all at this point, but they could have taken place in a matter of weeks, maybe a month, or 3 months, 2 months, whatever. Anakin and Tahiri were there, so it could be smaller adventures together. But that's the only place I can imagine you putting it, because Darkest Night and Under Siege are right back to back to each other. There's only like a few weeks, and they're prepping for the Shadow Academy, which Luke now knows is impending, and he never would have held a class knowing that the Shadow Academy was coming to attack. So that's where I would kind of put it. That was my biggest question there. Anyway, going back to Golden Globe, Tahiri's having dreams about going on a river boat, and then she falls off of it and she drowns. Then Anakin's in the dream, so she tells Anakin. Now Anakin dreams about it the next 2 nights. Oh, I guess it's been 3 nights or 4 nights this adventure takes place, because Anakin dreams about it twice back to back and realizes that he has to go on this adventure with Tahiri, and because R2-D2 was in the adventure, R2 has to come with them. So they all go on the adventure. They find the raft. Of course, she tips over. Looks like she's going to drown, but she doesn't. Anakin saves the day. They find a little temple, kind of hidden in the underbrush. There's tons of temples around Yavin 4. So they find another little one, make their way through mazes, puzzles. I think they find some kind of little door or something secret. They do find a secret door and open it, figure out how to open it by using one of the bones of a child that's there. Ugh, that's kind of creepy. But when they get there, they find the Golden Globe. They find Ikrit there sleeping by the Golden Globe. They don't know what's going on, but they see the children calling for help. They don't know what's the deal, what's the situation here. All they know is they hear dark side spirits telling them to go away, leave us alone. And we know what the story is, but at this point you don't. But all you know is Anakin feels like they can't tell Luke. So when they get back to the academy and Luke asks them where they've been, they make up a story about them being lost. Ikrit is nowhere to be found, even though he guided them back to the temple. And at the very end, the very last chapter, Ikrit speaks to Anakin and says, hey, you can't tell Luke Skywalker, because if any adults go there, the globe will shatter, killing all the kids. And I don't know if they ever explain this, but it could be that they don't find young Force users a problem, an issue. And of course, I'm sure I think there was a prophecy that only young people can do it. But I don't know why Ikrit can get away with not having the globe shatter. But whatever it is, we can't leave Luke. Luke can't be in this. Now Nancy Richardson is building up a story, right? That doesn't involve Luke. Luke could probably easily solve the puzzle. So how do we keep Luke out of the equation, or how do we keep Anakin from keeping a secret, and he and Tahiri just having this adventure? This is a nice example for this MacGuffin. I'm fine with that. Remember, this is a children's book. You don't really have to think that deep into it. But as a children's book, it moves really well. It's like 80-something pages, like all these children's books are. And so far, it's very fun. I'm enjoying it for exactly what it is. What about book 2? Well, I'll talk about that next time.